Hey, welcome back to DIY Willie. And today, well, we're getting back on the Chevy Silverado and some more stereo equipment. Hyanka reached out to me again, and they have a new 12-inch powered subwoofer box, and they asked me to give it a review and a try. I figured, why not? We're always up to upgrade the stereo system in the 2011 Chevy Silverado, and I would have liked to have went to 12-inch when I put the 10-inch in, but yeah, let's check this out. As you know, my truck is wired in a way that I can easily swap components out as needed whenever I get a new one. So let's check out this new 12-inch powered subwoofer, and well, we'll look at getting it installed in the truck. All right, so let's get it unboxed. We've got a box in a box. Let's get it out of the box. That's a lot of box. That's a lot of box. Don't need this box anymore. All right. So here's the box right here. This is the Hyanka Vela series, model number SKATS12M. It's a 12-inch active subwoofer, 600 watt power max. So it is got a built-in amplifier into the box. So you can see that, right? Yeah, you can see that. It's in English? Yeah, it's in English. All right, so now let's get it out. In normal Hyanka fashion, there's another box. Let's get this box out. Gotta love the way they package this stuff, though. Kind of like this. Now let's get this box out. Okay, that was box number 2. How many more boxes do you think we're gonna have? Hopefully this is the last one. This is pretty nice. We're getting closer to getting it out of the box. This is from Hyanka. Excellent, you can hear. Vela series. Let's see what's in the box. 1 carb subwoofer, 1 user manual, 1 wired remote control, 1 installation kit, power cord, ground signal wires, and RCA cable. Wow, that's pretty much everything you need. Now that is everything you need, really, besides the head unit. With a fuse, everything. That's pretty good of them to include all that with this subwoofer. Okay, now let's see here. Just a cool little plastic. Got the instructions here. It's got any yeah, it does. It does have some details here. Let's take a look at those before we get it open. So product specifications, dimensions, it's a 12-inch woofer, we know that. RMS power is 300, which is like your constant power, what it can handle at a constant rate. With your peak power, your maximum power at 600 watts, that's what's gonna make it before it grenades, basically. Frequency range is 30 to 20 hertz, 200 hertz, excuse me. And the 30 hertz is your lowest frequency. The 200 hertz is a high frequency. So when you set it up, you want to set it kind of in between that range somewhere. Sensitivity is 92 decibels. RCA input, 12-inch subwoofer with 2-inch voice coil, and 2 ohms. That's pretty nice. Wooden cabinet gives you the dimensions: 22 by 83 by 1417 by 80 inches. It's made of a little over a ½ inch MDF. Pretty nice. And I like the way they brand their stuff. You know, let's see if we can get it out of here. Hyanka. Got their branding on the side of it. That's nice. Like that a lot. Oh, this is the subwoofer side. There we go. Ooh, that's a nice looking subwoofer. That's really nice. Kind of low profile. I don't know if it'll fit under my seat. We'll have to get a tape measure out here in a few minutes and see. But I like its down firing. Kind of like that. Keep things from getting on top of it. Sometimes though you can get a little bit of baffle from the carpeting or material that's underneath it. Depends on how much space there is. But that kind of helps out sometimes, in my opinion. That kind of helps out with distortion. You know, when you start getting a little bit of noise in there, sometimes the carpet will cancel it out because your bass frequencies, your low frequencies, are a lot stronger and will travel out. So yeah, that's kind of nice. I like that. I really like how they brand it. I don't know, I think I said that like 10 times already, but I really like how they brand it. Pretty heavy. It's really heavy. And it is sealed up pretty nice. Okay, here's the amplifier. You got your cooling heat sink. You got your power in, your positive, negative, and remote. You got a fuse on the outside. You remember the other amplifier that I installed did not come with a fuse in it. It was a circuit breaker type built into the unit. There's your inputs for your low frequencies and of course all your adjustments. Again, it's branded nicely, Hyanka. There's the amplifier built in with the 12-inch sub. Alright, so we got the instructions here. Nice little booklet. They got some of the products on the back that they use or they have. I've got quite a bit of this already. Talks about the introduction, protecting your ears, shows the parts that are coming in the box, cautions, the story of the brand, and of course your installation instructions. It goes through a lot of this. Got some pictures describing what things are. Pretty nice setup. Then you got the same specifications that we talked about already, and of course your warranties and how to repair, and some QR codes and stuff like that. It's got some parameters on the bottom showing you the independence versus frequencies and sound pressure level versus frequencies. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Comes with everything you need really to get it installed. So let's take a look at the accessory package. We'll call it accessory package. So with nothing else here, you've got what looks to be, you've got some wire cover, and this would be your ground wire, I'm assuming. Yep, this is a ground wire already terminated on one side. That's nice. This is about a 10 gauge, I guess. Yeah, it's about a 10 gauge wire, I guess. You've got quite a bit of RCA input wires to run throughout. And this would be already with the fuse installed, already terminated on one side. This would be your power cable. Again, I believe this is 10 gauge wire, and your RCA, or excuse me, your remote access wire, remote turns. What the heck am I saying? The remote turn on wire is in this bundle as well. So it's packaged nicely. You've got some wire ties, looks like some heat shrink in there. You've got your bass volume knob and the connection to the bass volume knob, and that's kind of odd. Must be that type. Okay, all right, we can do with that. Now what's this? Now I believe this is going to be your signal converter. This is going to take your high level signal and turn it into a low level signal from your head unit. Depending on what head you have, you may not have like subwoofer outs, low level outputs. So if you have a stock stereo that has, say, 10 volt or 10 watts or 18 watts or whatever per channel coming out, you can connect this to those speaker output wires, plug it in here, and then adjust your output level here. And it looks like it has a power cable going into it, probably a ground, so it's a pretty nice unit. And then you would just run this to the amplifier instead of the head unit. You can adjust your output level for volume loudness through there. That's nice that they include this, because a lot of factory units wouldn't have this. And this really does make this the easiest to install in any vehicle, whether it has an aftermarket stereo or a factory stereo. This right here solves that problem. It's really cool that they include it in the package, and it just makes this installation so much easier to the people, and versatile. I mean, any car could get this installed. So now that we've looked at everything, well, as you know, also cooperate with me. As you know, also, I won't be using any of this because my truck is already wired for the subwoofer, and I don't want to run any of this cabling and disrupt this package and wiring setup I have, because we may want to use this in another vehicle at another time, and well, we'll keep it all nice and neat. The only thing we will use is the bass knob off out of this package, and we may refer to the instructions again, but I don't know. We'll keep it nice and tucked away in the box, in the bag, and we'll put this right there. So that's all the parts. Now we need to get a look at the truck. If you've seen my videos in the past, I already have quite a bit of Hyanka equipment in this truck. I have the Hyanka 6.5 speakers in the doors. I've got their Mensa series amplifier, 4-channel amp powering the 4 door speakers. And I have their, man, don't ask me to say that, Farrinkensen? Sorry, Hyanka, I have trouble pronouncing that. Anyway, I have their subwoofer amp right here. It's a Class D CDP 1200D power amplifier that's powering my 10-inch subwoofer right here in this box. Now I have videos about putting all this stuff in the truck and wiring it up. I'll leave a link in the description down below for those videos, even the assembly of the box. So right now I've got to take the box out and their subwoofer amp, get that out, and install the other one. Now I don't think the other one's going to fit under my seat, which is kind of disappointing, because this is a pretty shallow box and the other one's at least another 2 inches taller. So it's kind of disappointing that it won't fit in here, but we're going to run with it for a while so we can try it and test it and see how it works out. Let's get this stuff out and we'll get the other box in here. Should be a really easy job. As I said, I'm not going to use the wiring that came with the installation kit. My truck is already pre-wired and I don't feel like running more wires. It takes a long time to do that. But I'll kind of give you the gist of what I did, how the wires run. So as you saw earlier, the harness that came with it was wired with a fuse box and it was terminated already. So you would connect that, much like I have it here, to the positive side of the terminal. Now you want to make sure that your battery is disconnected to the vehicle, like disconnect the negative side of your battery. My installation right now, since everything's ran, I just pulled the fuse on the positive, so there's no power back at the amplifier. But you would want to run it this way, run the wire down out of the way of any engine components, anywhere where it might get burned or cut or chafed, anything, and run it down along underneath to where you could find, run it underneath like this one, to where you could find a way to get it inside the vehicle. Now you may have to drill a hole to get it in there, and it comes with a grommet to insulate the hole. If not, you can use some silicone and such like that, or you can use a hose and cut it in half and stick it in there as a grommet. Now I have this wiring all in other videos, so again, I'll leave a link in the description for the other amps and speakers that I installed from the Hyanka, and there's a playlist for it, and so you can see all the wiring that I did in the other videos. So yeah, check it out. It's worthy of watching, and I'm really impressed with the Hyanka equipment so far. All the components have worked great. Yeah, let's just get inside and get that connection going. So even though you can't see it, that wire runs right along here, comes across, and then they come up behind here back by the carpet. As you can see, it's positive right there. My negative wire is just connected to a ground close by, which is my my jack mount for the vehicle is my ground. You want to make sure you got a good, clean, solid ground. So I've had to take off my 4-gauge wires because the new amplifier on the 12-inch sub is 8-gauge wiring. So I reran 8-gauge wiring over there to the area, and I only had red, so I marked each red wire. I marked the red wire for the ground with a black tape at each end, and then of course the red wire for the positive going over there, so it'll be easier to wire up. Now Hyanka has made this very simple for us. There's very little connections. We've got our input coming from the RCAs from the head unit. Now either the head unit with the with an aftermarket type stereo, or the head unit like a factory style head unit with a converter, a high input converter that would convert it down to the low inputs. We've got our ground, our positive, and our remote turn on, and then of course the remote start, or the not remote start, the remote volume control right here will plug in right there. So you want to keep this in an area where it's going to get air. You don't want to put it up against something where the heat sink here, this part here, will get hot and it could damage the amplifier over time. So you always want to make sure you have good ample air around your heatsink here. Now these terminals are a Phillips head type. So the first one we're going to connect is our positive. We've got the blue wire here as our remote turn on. That's the next one in the lineup. We'll stick it in there and tighten the screws down. Now you always want to give these a little tug to make sure that they're solid. It's solid. And then I've got my red wire with the black tape on it. That indicates that it's my ground. Normally you would have just a black wire, or whatever you identify the wire as. So make sure it's good and tight. Connections, I'll go over them one more time just to make sure they're in there really good, like so. Now the last connection, well, not the last, we still have the volume control, but the next connection we're going to do are the input wires from the RCAs coming from the head unit. It doesn't really matter red or white, or in this case white or blue. It doesn't really matter. You just put them in whatever position you want. They're going to have the same channel on it anyway. I need to get the remote switch or the remote volume control and get it plugged in, and I'll get that out of the box right now. Now this is really simple, this volume control. This is like the old school Cat 5 or phone jack, however you want to call it. It just clicks in there like that. Now normally, on a normal installation, again, I'm not running this all the way up front because, well, I changed my equipment so much, I don't want to have it up front. But you could run this back up to the head unit or to the dashboard area, somewhere where it's easy to get a hold of and do the adjustments on the fly when you need it. I'm not going to do that right now, but we'll have it available back here to us to do the initial setup. So here we have the what is that, the phone plug, or I don't know what you call that. Anyway, it plugs in right here in the back of the box. There's only one place it can go, and yeah, we're all set up. Now we need to kind of set the perimeters. Now I'm going to set this halfway right there like that. It'll be halfway. And the other ones that we have down here, I'm going to also set those at halfway. Now we also have some other ones right here that are all set at the minimum. I'm going to bring those up to halfway as well, just for the initial setup. We can adjust them as we need them to fine tune it to our interior. We can adjust them later to how it sounds inside our vehicle, our hearing preference, and how we like to hear our music, and the types of music that you listen to will change those settings. So you want to try to find a happy medium, especially with the volume control, you know, somewhere where you can jack it up. You can turn the volume up, but it's not too loud, it's not too low, and it just sounds real good. But for the initial setup right now, I'm just going to set everything in the middle, and we'll see how it sounds. Now, for testing purposes only, I have to put the subwoofer in this position, and I had to lift the box up to level it out across the bottom, because it was hitting on the woofer on the bottom, and the woofer would have hit on the bottomed out on the carpet and caused a very ugly distortion sound. So I had to lift it up using the original packing that came with it. Again, this is just for testing purposes. We'll officially get it set in the way we like it later. So it's been a couple of days now. I've had a chance to kind of work with it, kind of tune it the way I like it. Unfortunately, my dash is cracked and it rattles a lot now with this 12-inch subwoofer. But I mean, you'll be able to hear it, and of course, the camera doesn't reproduce the bass very well, but it's there and it sounds really good. So without further ado, let's take a listen to it. All right, here we go. Second attempt at this. Here is the Hyanka 12-inch powered subwoofer, compact design. Let's check it out. We're gonna listen to Bass Groovy Beat from Soundcrate. I made this as my test video to hear the sound. Here we go. The box sounds tight, nice and solid. The only rattle I really hear is in the plastic of the vehicle. My 6.5 filling the mid-range in with the Hyanka 4-channel amplifier and the 12-inch sub. So now I'm going to take it and put it up on its side where it would be if it were in a compact car, like a hatchback, or possibly a trunk on its side where it'd be forward-facing subwoofer. So I'll turn it off and we'll get that set up. Okay, we have the subwoofer on its side. Box feels really tight, really nice. I love the way they brand it with the Hyanka on it. And that's embroidered. Look at that. Look how good that is. That's embroidered in there into the carpet, the box covering. Really nice. Their stuff is showing really great quality in their build, craftsmanship. So let's hear that woofer one more time. We'll start from the beginning. This is Bass Groovy Beat from Soundcrate. Have some volume control over here. That's max on the input. Again, the rattle you may hear is coming from the plastic in the truck, not the subwoofer. Okay, this is changing the phase 180 out at the stereo. Let's see if it makes a difference. Well, there you go. That is the best test I can do for the 12-inch sub from Hyanka. It's really nice, and it does have great sound. The box, like I said, is tight. It doesn't rattle. I'll leave a link in the description again for the box, the amplifiers, the speakers, all the Hyanka gear that I have in my truck. I'm thankful that Hyanka reached out for me to test this stuff. It's a little hard for me to get this stuff done. Sometimes I have a very busy schedule, but this, I got it in, and it did take me a few days to get it tested. That was basically just because I had a tight schedule, a lot of work going on, and I was trying to tune it to where I liked it inside my truck. There's a lot of variables that you can adjust, a lot of things that you can get the clarity out of it, you know, get the frequencies right. And there's Groot. FedEx is coming by. And well, I think I got it dialed in for my truck environment and the music that I listen to. Again, I wish I could play music that that I really like to hear, that would not give me a royalty strike, you know, a bad strike for playing royalty music. So I got to stick with the royalty free stuff, and this bass groovy beat is the best one I found so far that I like to use. With that said, you know, this box turned out really nice. Happy to use it. And well, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and always come back to DIY Willy for your Hyanka gear, audio equipment reviews. And yeah, this one turned out really nice. I love the subwoofer, and I'm gonna get lots of good use out of it. So with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you, Hyanka.